Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video with myself and Mike. And today it's not about an analysis, it's not about anything to do with the scouting of transfers. It is just basically our final thoughts. It's the last time we're going to speak about this person. Declan Rice, now an actual Arsenal player. It's happened, it's become kind of official now. Mike, what are your thoughts on the whole situation? Because it's been a long time coming this summer. Ever since we won that Europa Conference League, it's been pretty much the next day. So, A, are you glad it's over? And B, are you in any way sad or disappointed with how it's kind of turned out?
I'm glad it's over. It has been dragging for way too long. It didn't help that we came out almost instantly after we'd won to say, here's the dinner bell, guys. Come feast on Declan Rice. Which kind of took the shine off of what we achieved. But we're 4 weeks down the line of that being talked about. And I'm just glad it's over. It's taken way too long. Arsenal have been, by and large, disrespectful the whole way through. I don't care what any Arsenal fan says. They knew the price was 100 million from the outset. And whilst, yes, you need to try and get the best price possible, they were well aware of terms and they were trying to take the piss and trying to bully West Ham because all intents and purposes, they were and thought they were the only kind of, club in town. But
yeah, I guess that came from probably what's been reported that Rice and Arsenal and Arteta have been speaking since like January. So they probably had a good inkling that Rice wanted to move, and they probably had those conversations. So they thought, let's just try and get him a little bit cheaper and hope no one else comes in.
Let's be honest. If they've been talking since then, that's highly disrespectful of West Ham, of the fan base.
Yeah.
And also that is how you cannot call that tapping up. I don't know. How can you be having conversations with a football club or a player without the knowledge? Now, again, I'm guessing at that point, without the knowledge of his employer that this is happening, especially in football, because it's not like in normal everyday employment. It happens.
Yeah.
But how that can be happening.
Well, I wanted to get your kind of opinion on the whole situation, like from that kind of perspective of what happened, the Declan Rice side of things, because if it's kind of working both ways, he's then speaking with Arsenal, he's had talks with Arteta while we're in a pretty dire position in the Premier League, battling relegation. So what are your kind of thoughts around how Declan Rice himself conducted that and, in the build up to this transfer?
So, right, let's caveat it. These are all based on reports, rumours, accusations, all that stuff. So we can't categorically say it's true. We can't also categorically deny it. Now, if this is true, my thought is it's entirely disrespectful and duplicitous of all involved, from Declan Rice through to those representing him, which unfortunately is his family. So it's going to be harsh because you're now poking at his family. But if that was happening, and we all know that he was looking to leave, the fact that we're in the midst of a relegation battle and struggling in the league, the manager's looking to go. I understand he was not happy at that period at West Ham, not just because of our league position, but also the way we were playing. The manager, although his party line was different, it wasn't a happy camp, and people weren't happy with the manager, regardless of the united front. And it just makes, again, if all of that is true, that was happening, then it makes all of the platitudes, all of the comments incredibly hollow and incredibly well acted. It also makes the fact that, again, the friends and family element where they were all there singing West Ham songs, wanting to be involved in West Ham's greatest moment, and yet full well that throughout that entire period and even up to that point, they are telling any club who wants to kind of have a conversation, ain't going to happen. We're going to go nowhere but this club, and essentially touting him and constantly talking to Arsenal. So again, that feels incredibly duplicitous. It feels completely, some people will say snake.
I think the way I look at it is Yeah, he's gone about it that way. He's obviously, well, we can only say it's reports, but I have a very good inkling that he was talking to Arteta in that period. I think that probably did happen for something to move on and for Arsenal to have such a strong interest and name him their number one transfer target straight away and, absolutely go for him as soon as we'd won the Conference League. So for me, I do have an issue with it, but at the end of the day, did it really affect his performances for West Ham? I would probably say not. Maybe a little bit, but I think by and large, especially the second half of the season, Rice performed pretty good, especially towards the end. I think he had some really good games for us. So I think his focus was always on, what he mentioned in every press conference whenever a question came out about his future. He said, I'm a West Ham player. I'm 100% focused on keeping this club in the league and winning the Europa Conference League. He's done both of those things. And I don't really think that we can have too much of an issue with him on the pitch. I think I completely get people having, issues with how he's kind of handled the transfer and maybe questionable move going to Arsenal with the comments he made about ambitions of winning the highest honours. But in terms of the move itself, Mike, moving up to Arsenal, obviously a bigger step for him in his career. Arsenal on the upwards trajectory. Although he's kind of said, okay, I want to win major honours, I want to do all this, and Man City came calling. Do you understand why he wants to go to Arsenal and why he's picked that kind of project rather than going into that Manchester City team straight away?
Yeah, so I just want to go back to the other bit first. That was really negative what I was saying because, again, we're talking about the negative potential rumour, but also has to be said that he was professional during that time. His words around West Ham were the right words to say. Yeah. He did perform on the pitch to the best of his ability in a very difficult time and a very restricted tactical setup, which limited what we did in possession and was largely out of possession. And he did his job and led us not only to safety, but also led us to a European title as well. So, like you say, on the pitch, you can't complain. Yeah. What happened off it, again, we can't really comment to it, and we can't really, say that what happened was true. If that stuff was true, then I do find it duplicitous, and I really am disappointed in that manner because, quite frankly, it was tapped up and were leading us on a merry dance.
Yeah.
However, if that's not true, then that is also, it really does sully his reputation, and he's done nothing wrong and doesn't deserve any criticism in that regard. And if it's just the intermediaries, and by that I mean those that represent him doing that in the background, then again, that's not a reflection on Declan. He can't be in control of what they do and monitor them. This is why rules and regulations are coming in from FIFA in which to prevent these types of situations, in all honesty.
Yeah.
In terms of going to Arsenal and what he said, the thing you find difficult with is because of what he said and because he's going to Arsenal and the fact that whilst Arsenal are on an upward trajectory, they looked very good last year. You could argue that he is maybe the missing link to take him that step further to maybe push for, kind of push for the Premier League. I think they've won.
I think that's what Arteta sees, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, and I think they've won 3 FA Cups out of the last 6. I think, which is obviously they've done really well in the FA Cup, and I know that is where they've been managed to keep that kind of Arsenal tradition, arguably, of winning.
That's been the trophy that's been coming through for them.
Exactly. The FA Cup has essentially been their cup, like the Carabao with Man City's. Yeah. And you look at the Premier League and you do go, well, look at all the teams that are improving next year. Are they going to have it as they did last year? Are Man City going to relinquish any of that drive that they had last year? Again, you maybe question no. So are they going to be the team to dethrone Man City? I don't think that they will. They're spending a lot of money, and if things don't go right, we've seen with the Arsenal crowd, they will turn.
Absolutely.
Now, Arteta is not going to. If Arteta has a poor start or a poor-ish season by the standards of last year, is that going to be a happy place? And if Declan Rice doesn't necessarily hit ground running, is that going to be a happy place? Possibly not. Also, they've got the added thing of Champions League football now as well on top of that. So there's going to be a lot more. And last year, one of the things that Arsenal struggled with was not having probably enough depth when things got into the the latter end of the year because they just kind of run out of steam because of
I think that's what's interesting about this move for Declan Rice himself, because he came through the West Ham academy with very little pressure at all, and playing for West Ham and playing for Arsenal and going to Arsenal for a British transfer record fee, being the club's most expensive signing of all time, playing in the Champions League, expecting to push on from last season and go that one step further and win the Premier League. It is a lot of pressure on him as a player to perform, especially from the position he's going to be in. Now, this is the thing that I'm worried with Declan Rice. He's going to go into that Arsenal team and they're going to expect something that isn't in his game yet and isn't at the top level yet, which is getting those goals and assists and being that impactful player in the final third, which you would want to see. It depends where Arsenal play him. We don't know whether he's going to play as the left-sided 8 to replace Xhaka or he'll play as the 6 for Partey. We don't know what Arteta's plan is for him, but I think he'll play as a 6, and I don't know what Arsenal fans expect from him, because whenever I've spoke to Arsenal fans or any kind of other kind of fans from the top 6, they don't really rate Rice because they watch him for England, and we know that the Rice for England is a limited Rice. It's a player that is told to defend under Southgate, and that's pretty much it. So what is the expectation for Arsenal fans with Rice? Because he's going to come in with such a high price tag and he's going to be asked to perform just like that.
I think he has to perform. It's no two ways. And in all honesty, I don't care about what he does for Arsenal. In all honesty, I just don't. I couldn't give two shits. And the reason being, he's not a West Ham player. The moment he signs that contract with Arsenal, he is not a West Ham player. And therefore, I have no interest in debating, talking, or even acknowledging Declan Rice. Like, literally, I will clap him when he comes back to London Stadium for the first game. But the moment that clap finishes, that's it. He's no longer Declan Rice of West Ham. He's Declan Rice of Arsenal.
I was going to say, would you? Because there's been a mixed opinion about the reception that Declan Rice is going to get. I saw something online saying, how are you going to give him a good reception with how he's gone to a London rival and the way that potentially it's gone about it after his comments? So, do you think that people would booing him? Do you think they have the right to do that, or do you think that's just disrespectful?
At the end of the day, everyone has the right to do what they want. If people want to boo him, that's their right. That's their prerogative. If people want to clap him, that's prerogative. The fact that there is no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Those that are saying that you're not a West Ham fan for doing it, it's moronic. Those that are saying you're not a West Ham fan for clapping him, again, it's moronic. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. I mean, you'll either have the opinion that he's a Judas, he's a snake, or he's got a bat the wrong way. There's the varying degrees of whether you think he's right or wrong. Yeah. There'll be others that will say he's done nothing wrong. He's gone to a better club. He's shown an elite mentality because he's going to a club where he actually has to fight to win a title or a trophy. And as we know, they've never won anything in Europe. So, they've won less than us in Europe, which is, again, amusing. But the fact is, I'm completely indifferent to it. My response is going to be, I'll clap him when it's as an acknowledgement for what he gave us as fans during that period. If certain things that have come out or have been kind of said are true, then I'll lose a fair bit of respect for him. Not as a player, because I think as a player, he's been fantastic for us. I'll lose a bit of respect for him in the sense of he presented a facade that wasn't real. And I'd rather it was just honest and just, I don't really want to be here, or I know I need to go. Yeah. Then you can respect that, I think. But if someone's sitting there kind of, I don't want to ever leave, I don't want to leave, I want to stay here, this is my club, and then you're going to another London club and it kind of has gone by the alleged rumours the way it has, it doesn't sit right for me. I think that's, I don't know, maybe I'm of that era of West Ham fans where these types of things didn't sit well. Yeah. And some people would say that he's literally a photo shoot in an Arsenal shirt away from doing a Paul Ince.
Yeah. And
with Paul Ince, and to be in fairness to Paul Ince, he was advised incredibly poorly by an agent saying to him, the deal's all but done, you might as well pose in this kit. And then the deal fell through. So, a young kid thinking he's going Man United did what his agent told him, and then it backfired.
Yeah.
So there was at least a defence for Paul Ince, but, you look at this and kind of go, I don't know. I've got no animosity to him. I'm just completely indifferent to it. Very thankful for him as a player. I'm proud of what he's achieved at West Ham. But beyond that, I've kind of accepted Rice was going about 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
when people are going, oh, it's going to hit so hard when he goes, for me, it's just I've seen players go. It hurt me more when Payet went, because
Mm.
at least with Rice, I can also go, yeah, but we fleeced Arsenal. I know some Arsenal fans trying to say that, Arsenal got exactly what they wanted out of the deal. No, they didn't. They didn't want to pay 100 million. Certainly didn't want to pay 105 million. They certainly didn't want to have to pay over 24 months
Mm.
3 instalments of 33 million pounds, and
Yeah.
then also a 5 million pounds, which is actually achievable rather than based on Champions League wins and the Premier League. So
Yeah.
to those Arsenal fans saying that, they're in a dream world, because that's strictly not true. They want to pay it over 5 years, they now have to pay it over 24 months. They pay it over 2 years, then 33 million pounds each time, guaranteed 105 million, and then guaranteed 100 million, and then it's 5 million in extras.
Yeah.
Incredibly achievable. So Arsenal haven't got what they wanted in terms of the
No.
financial structure. They got the player they wanted, but financially, and fair play, because this is actually people saying it's David Sullivan. That's not true. It's Karen Brady who negotiated the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Has done a fantastic job in actually outright saying you're not having it over 5 years. And I don't praise Karen Brady often because she's not really praiseworthy. She's not done a good enough job at West Ham, in my opinion, at all ever.
Mm-hmm.
And in light of Sullivan not being there, she's negotiated a very good deal for West Ham and West Ham only. Arsenal have got an element of what they wanted, but they haven't got as well as they would have liked. And I think, Declan Rice going, it's a shame to lose a player, but this is what happens when you don't build around players. And sometimes you also got to accept your lot. And I don't mean it in a derogatory way and say, no, it's little old West Ham. We shouldn't be expecting to keep these players. What I mean is, there comes a point and a stage where you go, we haven't done enough to push on to the next kind of stage, or to build around a player and try and make players around them of that same level.
Yeah.
So you need to move someone on, or someone needs to move on.
I think that it literally is parallel with what Arsenal are doing. You look at what they've done in the past couple seasons, 3 seasons, since Arteta's become their manager. They're building, and the players like Saka, like Martinelli that they've brought in, like Odegaard, they want to be part of the project. That's the difference, because with West Ham, we had the chance to do that over the past few seasons, but we just haven't been able to. We haven't been able to keep progressing. And I think because we played so poor in the Premier League this season, it was kind of the killer blow, because like you mentioned, we've been saying Rice is going to go for how many seasons? 3 seasons now, to 2 to Chelsea, and now this summer. So I think no West Ham fan can begrudge Declan Rice of moving. He's 24 years old. He's one of the best midfielders at what he does in the world. And he has a chance to play in that project that is building, which we wanted him to be part of at West Ham, but we failed to deliver on that. And it happened with Payet. I mean, the reasons around why he left is, it's still cloudy, but you look at what he was promised when we moved to that stadium, world-class players, progressing. It just wasn't delivered. So I think, my final thoughts on Declan Rice is, like you mentioned, thank you. Your service has been unbelievable. It's been great seeing you develop as a player. You captained us to our European trophy, which we'll always remember. But now you're an Arsenal player. That's it. You cut ties with it. You move on, and hopefully we spend the money wisely, because, like you mentioned, 105 million is a lot of money, and it's a lot of potential. And you can look at it in both ways, but I kind of view it in an exciting way. Is we've got a lot of money now to build something again with Europa League football this season. So that's going to be our final thoughts on Declan Rice. We're not going to speak about it again, because he's gone. It's finally over. The saga's done, and we can start to move on and develop again as a club, hopefully into next season. But let us know in the comments what you think of the whole scenario, how your feelings are towards Declan Rice, what the kind of reception you'll give him next season is when he's in an Arsenal shirt. And that's going to be it for today. Make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel as always. And Mike, until next time,
come on, you Irons.